Hello, loveys. Happy Tuesday. It is May 27th, 2025, and it's a Talk Shit Tuesday. What a day we had in Commonwealth v. KarenRead. Woohoo! One for the books. We know that the Commonwealth has brought their main event. And who is it? Judson B. Welcher. Judson be good. Judson be bad. I don't even know. But it was a wild ride. And Hank Brennan has pulled out all the stops, babes. He's ready for what he thinks is going to be his KO for the defense. And unfortunately, he has miscalculated this to an occiput boner right to all of our knees. Oh. Oh, and hi, Poxy. How are ya? Tom, I am here. Okay. What I also have done is I took the time to delete files from my computer. I've talked to Jesus, tiny Jesus in the boom, with his mother Mary, and we're hoping for a very normal stream tonight. Okay. She's going to be connected. We're connected together. We're having no connectivity problems, and we are going to live our best lives. Thank you for being here. And hello, Tiffany. And hi, Lauren. Oh, loveys. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Ryden Bowen. And Man Shannon's empty diploma frame. Oh. And we're freeing KarenReads. Woohoo! Okay. So I went to the trial channel, loveys, because what was today? It was shit talking and sidebars. Okay. Of the entire day, we have approximately 3 hours and 21 minutes, and we're going to double speed that and go through what was actually important. So, yes, Carly Beach, it is the finger paint king. I have brought our finger paints from the kindergarten class down the road, and we are going to get busy. Okay. We're going to get messy. We're going to make things happen that no one knew was possible. Karen, we use pink finger paints for the defense and blue, apparently, for Judson. Oh, my eye is twitching already. So now let's get into the beginning of the day where the voir dire happens. And Lovey's, oh, where's my pearls? Oh, sorry. Double pearl. Where are my pearls? You know where they are. So, okay, we've got our pearls on. We've got one pair. We're probably going to have to go to a 3-alarm pearl, okay? But in this voir dire, Attorney Alessi gets Judson B. Welcher off his game immediately, right out the gate. And he is like, I got you to say what I needed. Oh, and Judge Canoni, she was like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I know, Scott. And oops. Parksy says, coming out hot with a $49.99. Parksy, stop it. Says Hank finger painted today, and Alessi will be coming in tomorrow like Picasso. I'm here for it. Shit Talk Tuesday, motherfuckers. Malvas, we're falcon. All right. Without further ado, babes, we are about to go to Funky Town, potentially be teleported to another dimension. May the Lord be with you and also with you. Oh.
Just want to show the evidence of the report in case anyone hears the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Jen Altman's in the chat. That's fun.
So we're going to have a short voir dire. Okay, so
Hi,
Mr.
Kim.
Alessi.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Also, you want to talk about a rebrand, babes. Judson B. Welcher, like, is this an impersonator? Have you seen what he looks like on the website? Oh. He decided that he was going to let his goatee fly. He looks like a completely different character. I would like to see a birth certificate, sir. Are you him? Who are you? All right.
Thank you.
Morning, Dr. Welcher.
Good morning.
If you look at any documents in answering my question, I appreciate you letting me know that, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any documents open in front of you at this moment?
I do. I have a reminder.
Your Honor, I'd ask until the question
Can
comes
you
up.
do without it, sir?
Any other questions?
Okay, so just let us know if you need to look at it. Don't look at it without
Yep. I mean,
permission, please. All right, go ahead, Mr.
Thank you, Your
Thank
Honor.
you, Wordy
Dr. Welcher,
Thompson.
you have changed your PowerPoint presentation in the last few days in this case, correct?
I deleted a slide and removed a couple words.
Right, but you changed your PowerPoint presentation, correct?
Correct. I deleted a slide and deleted a couple words.
Who has
Oh, Kim's expired registration. Sorry, I'm late. Someone forgot to pay me. Oh, okay. I'm clutching my pearls. Thank you for the fun from my Twitter loveys. Okay. You are the best. And I love you guys. Seriously. Hilarious. Also, we're going to start calling me Kim Lovin because apparently I had a ring of, I was making fake IDs allegedly for, a gaggle of Catholic schoolgirls. Woo! Call me Kim Lovin.
have you spoken to at the Commonwealth in the last 2 weeks? Anybody associated with the Commonwealth? Who have you spoken to?
In the last 2 weeks, Mr. Brennan, Mr. Lally, Lieutenant Tully,
Anyone else?
I think Mary Ellen Gray.
I would like to tell you all that he did say he was speaking to Cully, and that is Dave Cullinane. Okay. Was he talking to Tully? No. He called up Dave Cullinane. Probably Kirk Minahan, too. God only knows.
Anyone else?
The tech person, Cindy, this morning.
And with regard to those conversations, what prompted those conversations? Who initiated them?
I was originally told I was going to be on here last Monday. So there was a whole flurry of conversations around that. I was initially told
Oh,
I may have to give all my rebuttal
sorry,
testimony
Levies.
on a whole huge data set I've received.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. My question was simply because we have a limited amount of time. Who initiated the conversations?
Oh, there were multiple conversations.
How many?
I have no
More
idea.
than 10?
I'm sorry?
More than 10?
Probably not.
All right. What did you discuss with, do you understand it's no longer Detective Lieutenant Tully? It's, as I understand, it's Lieutenant Tully. Did you have you said you had conversations with him, correct?
Correct.
When was the first conversation? How many? And what are the nature of those conversations?
Oh, okay. Hold on, Levies. Don't worry. I'm still here. Hold, please. I don't know what is happening. So we're going to speak to Jesus. All right. I think that should be good now. All right. I think we're good.
Are you limited to the last 10 days or in total in my life?
No, within the last 2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks.
The total of his
I
life.
believe it was when I got here on Saturday night, I informed him I'd landed. And then Sunday morning, he gave me a ride over to the district attorney's office.
And what
That's the thing, Pierre. I don't know. Tully, was he demoted? He was previously Detective Lieutenant Tully, and now he's just Lieutenant Tully. Tell me everything. I want to know the deets.
what did you discuss from when you, did you have any discussions with Lieutenant Tully before Saturday, within the last 2 weeks?
Not to my knowledge.
What did you discuss with Lieutenant Tully? Topics.
Give me a time frame.
I keep saying the last 2 weeks. That's the
So
time frame I'm looking
all
at.
the conversations I
times.
had with him.
Yes,
Can you have somebody pick me up at the hotel?
I'm talking substantive, sir, about your outline, your PowerPoint presentation. Topics of, what discussions about the topics in your PowerPoint presentation?
I had no discussions with him about the topics in my PowerPoint presentation.
Who did you have discussions with from the Commonwealth about the topics in your PowerPoint presentation?
Mr. Brennan, Mr. Lally.
Describe those conversations and how many you had, including the first one that you had.
Well, I originally submitted my presentation with my original report way back, I believe in January.
Right. I'm asking for conversations within the last 2 weeks.
Okay, question wasn't clear. Then on Sunday, we just went through, talked about
Hey, I'm so sorry, Judson B. Welcher. Remember when he said 4 different times when Attorney Alessi asked you and said, hey, in the last 2 weeks, any substantive conversations? And he's like, in my entire life? Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't clear. Your question was evading me.
The bottom through my presentation. Mr. Brandon wanted to make sure he understood everything in it. And then I met with Mr. Brandon again on Sunday. We ran through it briefly again. And then that was largely it.
Who suggested the changes to your presentation?
Mr. Brandon.
Mr. Brennan suggested the changes that you made.
He indicated some of the things, for example, the slide I deleted referenced testimony that I was not allowed to include on a slide.
Okay. Okay, babes. That is big doings. Hank Brennan told you to make changes to your slide presentation. He was the one who suggested it. Clutch your pearls and clench your butts, loveys, because no one expected that, right? We know that Hank Brennan has told us and made another, I guess, maybe material misrepresentation to the court by saying, I just asked them to follow the yellow brick road. He was just one of the lollipop kids, right? Looking for their way to the wizard. Well, bitch, you know who's behind the curtain? It's Hank Brennan, which is actually very on brand.
Were there any discussions with anybody from the prosecution team about the changes with regard to the what I would call the Dighton route, the Dighton distance, and the total mileage? Do you know which slide I'm referring to, sir?
I do, yeah.
Who initiated the discussion on the changes to that slide?
So that slide was changed, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 days ago.
Oh, it was changed 8 or 10 days ago.
Oh.
Were there any changes made from 8 or 10 days ago to what's now in your presentation?
Not beyond what we talked
Oh,
about.
okay. So 10 days.
Oh, and you can feel the excitement just like percolating deep within Attorney Alessi. He says, oh, you pulled a me? I'm sorry. Were we together? Were we working on this, Attorney Alessi? Yes, we were. It's you and I, babe. Me and you against the world. And he says 8 to 10 days ago, we had some changes. And how can you explain that, sir? Because you made your report back in January of 2025. And approximately 8 to 10 days ago, what happened? What, if anything, changed?
Days ago, those changes were made.
8 to 10
8 to 10
days ago. I can actually probably figure out exactly when if you like.
Now my next questions go to Mr. Burgess. Mr. Burgess is a colleague of yours at Aperture, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware
Hold on, Levy. Sorry.
of issues relating to the accuracy or inaccuracy of his CV?
Unfortunately, I've been bombarded with emails that have referenced that. I've seen it. I have not read them.
You've been bombarded with them.
Oh, he's been bombarded. Babes, is he saying that he's being harassed? Is he harassed? You've been bombarded with people saying what, sir? Were they saying, hey, did you know that Manshan was lying on his CV and that it kind of misrepresented your entire company and that Aperture is represented by a bro with an associate's degree and a very unkind unicorn horn? Oh.
But you have, and you say unfortunately, but you have not read any of them? None?
Maybe 1 or 2 lines. For example, they come in, they're looking like legitimate business emails. And then I pull it up as a business email. I'm like, okay, I'm not supposed to do this. Court said I can't look at these.
Now, I want to go back to your slide presentation. I understand that you intend, subject to our objection to the court's ruling, you intend to present testimony with regard to your PowerPoint, where you are going to elaborate on your 1231-38 to 1231-43, trigger 1162-2, and you're going to add to what has been in your presentation a verbal discussion with regard to Mr. Burgess's change that he made in his May 8th report with regard to the variance time window. Do I have that correct?
No, you don't. It's not based on a verbal discussion. It's
No, you
based on
don't.
his report.
Okay, so you're going to make, you propose, what you're
Oh, and loveys. We need to send Karen. I did put up in the chat tonight just because I believe that Attorney Robert Alessi needs power, babes. What he needs from us most is protein. Okay? We need him to be fueled up and ready to finish him. Okay? Because he's going to do it. Is he going to do it tomorrow? No. Is he going to probably do it Thursday or Friday? Absolutely. But look at Karen in Hunter Green. Obsessed. Babe, this is everything. Karen Green is bringing you all positive juju. I am obsessed. You look like $1 million. And also, Liza Little, are you hitting us with some short bangs and an updo? It's giving Avril Lavigne, okay? And he was a skater boy. I don't know why, but that's what I'm thinking. She is just cruising down the street on her skateboard, Doc Martens on, jamming to Complicated. This feels right to me. Taking Back Sunday. You know?
Intending to do is you want to add the change from Mr. Burgess's May 8th report to what you're going to testify to on your PowerPoint. Do I have that correct?
That's correct.
And the only reason you're going to testify with regard to altering the 12/31/38 to 12/31/43 window is because of what Mr. Burgess has done on May 8th. Is that correct?
It's better.
Oh, God, forgive me. I have to say it, though, because I have an intrusive thought. Does she not look like Scott Peterson's mistress? Oh, gosh, what was her name? Was she an Amber? Amber Fry. Oh, my gosh. So much prettier, but like, and everybody's beautiful. But I'm just saying, I just was violently brought to her on a podium and her saying, I did not know that Scott was married. God rest Lacey Peterson and their baby soul.
Data. So I'm altering it and correcting it with better data that I've received from Mr. Burgess.
Right. But my point is, if it weren't for Mr. Burgess's change, you wouldn't be making any changes in your testimony, correct? It's only because of what Mr. Burgess did on May 8th. Is that correct?
Only from his report, correct.
Correct. So, and you understand, sir, that change has significant effects on the very issues in this case with regard to the timeline and the collision you allege occurred, and comparing it to human volitional conduct of Mr. O'Keefe with regard to his manipulation of the phone. You understand the consequences of that change, do you, sir?
I do. I would disagree with your assertion that it's consequential. Again, my original data, which is in my PowerPoint, has not changed. That data is still there. The timing was extremely close within the error of the measurements, which Mr. Burgess ultimately showed in his subsequent report that was within the variance.
Attorney Alessi right now, babes, can you see it? He's doing the thing that I do sometimes when I know what someone's going to say or some bullshit they're going to say. And I may or may not be like, yeah, and I might word it back to you. It is involuntary. I cannot stop it. And he is verklempt, okay? He's like, spit it out. Spit it out, guy.
Associated with those timing devices.
I understand, but my point, sir, and I want to understand if I have it correct, is that is going to move the time that you assert the 1162.2 trigger occurred, correct?
Correct.
And you would agree that's a substantial change given the issues in this case when seconds matter, or do you think it's an insignificant change?
I wouldn't say it's insignificant. Again, I haven't modified my PowerPoint at all. I was happy with the data I had and satisfied with the data I had. Again, once presented as engineer would with better data, we use better data. I'm sorry.
What took his attention? Was there a squirrel running by? I don't know. Was it, somebody having to go do a little piddle? Was somebody on their way to the restroom? I didn't hear a cell phone ring, but something took the attention of Attorney Alessi, and he needed to hear exactly what was coming. Keep going.
Before I let him finish.
It brings it closer in time to Ian Whiffen's last contact point data. But even if we don't have that, given what I knew about the variance in the cell phones, my time was still within that window anyway.
Well, there
Sir,
she
you've
is.
just answered my question, which is you agree that it affects the timeline in the activity in Mr. Whiffen's report. You said brings it closer. Did I have your words correctly?
Correct. What I was concerned about was your word about significant change. It brings it closer. It doesn't necessarily bring it significantly closer. My original timeline was very close, within the range of the accuracy of those types of cell phones, infotainment system data. So even if I didn't have Mr. Burgess's subsequent report, the data is still within that time window.
Sir, isn't it a fact that with the variance of Mr. Burgess that you're now you want to testify to, that there is a change because your 1162.2 trigger 12/31/38 to 12/31/43, you know that there's a device lock event on the phone of Mr. O'Keefe after that time period. You understand that, correct?
So again, there's a window of plus minus on that. Technically, those timestamps on that are as you indicated. Again, it's literally, I wrote that on my slide. It includes my slide where I have that exact comment.
But my question.
And here it is, babe. Listen to our attorney, our prince that was promised. get this information that is vital for the defense to have on the record.
Is the change means now that with the Mr. Burgess variance moving, you now have part of the moving range that occurs after the device lock, whereas before your change, the device lock occurred after every bit of your range of 1162.2. I have that correct, don't I, sir?
You do.
Okay,
Yes,
Your
sir.
Honor, that's all I needed. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to bring the jury in.
Oh, and so quickly, Judge Cannoni is like, yup, got it. Like, Judge Cannoni, come on. Can you for once, just sit there and allow the guys to go at it? And when there is something as substantial as this, it is substantial because seconds matter in this case, because it would be impossible that Officer John O'Keefe was allegedly struck by KarenRead's vehicle and succumbed to the injury that he sustained by said murder ground. Did he expire right as soon as it happened? No, nobody is alleging that. But he wouldn't have been able to lock the phone and do, what did Dr. Wolf call it? It's like not your activities of daily living, but you wouldn't be able to talk. You wouldn't be able to get yourself up. Remember that? So if Shanman Burgess hadn't changed this, babes, then there would have been no way that KarenRead could have struck Officer John O'Keefe, have him subsequently fall, smash the murder ground, and sustain that injury. So then the Commonwealth's entire theory and their entire case would have been thrown out the window. They needed Manchan, and without him, and without having Judson B. Welcher change his shit, this would have been a wrap. In my opinion, Aperture already took the hit. Their credibility is shot. And I did find, actually, Judson to be a little bit more relatable, and I found him kind of like funny. He said something about his mother would get bullshit at him when he would be putting his, taking things apart and putting it back together. So I found you relatable, but you configured stuff to do what your client asked you. Period. Point blank. You are not an independent anything. You are a hired gun by the hired gun, Hank Brennan, because Massachusetts couldn't fucking handle this case with Adam Lally and with Mass State Police. So you had to get a whole new fucking cast for season 2. Sorry.
Sir, can I just state my again? Yes, sir. You tell us for the honesty of the court and jury, the case now is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, the whole truth. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Brennan,
Thank you.
whenever you're ready.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Mr. Brown.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your first and last name for the court reporter who's next to you?
Oh, no, we're not going there. No. I'm talking about him testifying in court. The evidence he reviewed, he wants a medal. Karen and John's car, we're going to get back over to that, but we are going to start our report right here. Here it is, babes. Because there is like a review of all this.
My fingers are too fat.
Oh, he's got fat fingers.
Thank you.
I can relate.
Okay. So what you're looking at is what I call event 1162. If you see anything in blue on these charts, that's information that I added. I typically put my initial, JBW, Judson Blair Welcher, that's me. And so this is referred to as the key cycle trip. So key cycle is simply you turn it on, not necessarily turn the ignition on, turn it on, turn it off. That's one key cycle.
Yes.
So I labeled this one 1162-2 because there's also one that's on the same key cycle that I'm calling 1162-1. The system also records the mileage. So again, this is a maintenance system generally. So what you see is the T here is the trigger and there's a point. So this time in the texturing data, you can think of it as like a stopwatch. It's when it starts when the car turns on and stops when the car turns off. And then if it sees a triggering event, a T, it records that information. So this is when the trigger happened. So that's 1,142.2 seconds. So I've converted that to minutes and seconds, because most people don't think in seconds. And so what it also does is once it sees a trigger, it's constantly circulating data through the computer. So when it says, okay, we have a trigger, it saves 5 seconds before the trigger and then 5 seconds after the trigger. So the trigger's in the middle, and you have 5 seconds of data before and 5 seconds of data after.
Thank God. Thank you for explaining.
First, starting with the clock, the time in seconds.
Oh, Lovey, sorry. Let me just remind you of this as well, okay? That when we are talking about Toyota TechStream, you know that we've gone through this a million times together, right? But TechStream was developed by Toyota for them to prevent like lawsuits, class action lawsuits, okay? For what? Acceleration issues. If there was something with like the transmission or the gears and the car speeding up and being unable to stop at rapid acceleration, they were like, shit, we need some internal component that is able to. You know what Toyota TechStream is not supposed to be used for solely? Accident reconstruction. I got a guy. His name is Tony. He's down at Ira Lexus Danvers. And he said to me, he was like, yeah, Kim, the key cycles have never made sense in this case because I was a weirdo and I called him. And I don't know him in real life. I just called him one day after the mistrial. And he talked to me for about 35 minutes. Sorry, Tony. But I had to ask the questions that never made sense to me. And he said, no, every time you turn on an ignition and you turn it over, that is a key cycle. And that these fuckers have been peddling bullshit and snake salesmen since day one. Reminder, babes, the TechStream data was never even requested by Trooper Paul until February 2nd of 2023. That is a year after KarenRead was indicted on the manslaughter death of Officer John O'Keefe, and 6 months after she had been the increased charges to murder too. They had none of this, none of it. And they still thought they had enough. But when they got a little scared and said, oop, in my opinion, this is my opinion, that KarenRead wasn't going to plea, that she wasn't going to roll over. And she said, absolutely, go fuck yourself to the entire Commonwealth. And she was not going to be held responsible for a crime she did not commit. They ended up requesting the data. Again, any one of us, what I will do later on tonight, there is a guy who helped create the TechStream, like in entirety back in 2014. And he said that, yes, Toyota TechStream can be used as a tool in the toolbox for accident reconstruction, but it should never be used as like the linchpin or the bedrock of your case. Oh, sorry. Let us go.
On the left, you mentioned that begins when the car is turned on. What type of clock is that called?
It's just a continuous clock. I mean, it's not a clock like a time clock. It's more like a stopwatch and a clock.
Has it ever been referred to as a running clock?
The same thing. You start the stopwatch as running.
Based on the TechStream data alone, found in that one spot, can you tell from the data in the TechStream alone what time the power was turned on?
No, not alone. It simply tells you how long it's been on. It doesn't necessarily immediately tie it back to a clock time. You need additional information.
And so this in and of itself, the TechStream data doesn't give you a certain time on a clock, like 1 o'clock or 2:30, anything like that.
No, it simply tells you in this case when the trigger occurred, it's been on for 19 minutes and 2 seconds.
Oop, fact check. Want to know why? Because I'm Kim. That's what I do. So Toyota TechStream does have the ability to give you an exact date and timestamp. And it is provided on the the 2021 Lexus LX 570, the exact same model of KarenRead's. And she had the trim, like she didn't have a base model. It was available and it should have populated on every single vehicle other than a base model. So where's the date and time? I have questions, loveys, don't you?
You also mentioned that there's a 10-second window of information that's captures 5 seconds before the T and 5 seconds after the T, the triggering event.
Correct.
That window of 10 seconds, what happens if that doesn't capture the entire event? What if there's something before or after? What does the text stream data do?
So it depends on what the something is. So if there's another trigger, then it will record more data. So you can have 2 triggers that are recording things on the same time window as well, or very close to the same time window. So you need going, but in essence, what it does is when it sees a trigger, it saves that 10-second window and then just keeps monitoring things until it sees another trigger.
If the data captures a trigger, it has a 10-second window.
Oh man,
And
Shannon.
an event continues past that 10 seconds, so past the 5 seconds on either side, and there's no further trigger. Do you get any other information from the text stream data?
No, for example, in the trigger event, and say 5 seconds later, the vehicle's still moving, well, the data just ends.
Sorry,
It says it's
Barbara.
Going, 17 miles an hour, for example. It doesn't continue on. We just know that when the trigger ended, it was going 17 miles an hour.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have mileage recorded in this system. So what we're trying to do is use the available data to see if we can determine like what event this is, or is this the event, or is this something that could have occurred outside 34 Fairview on the evening of this event. And so one of the things.
An Alessi action figure would sell out of stores. Okay. I would like it. I put it on my Christmas list. I'd like it as stocking stuffers for all of my loveys immediately. Alessi action figure must have a red pen, highlighters in many colors with matching sticky tabs, a Sonos portable speaker, and a Colhan Zero shoes. I love this. Oh,
Things we're utilizing is the
we'll be
mileage.
okay. We'll make it.
Okay, so 12629 is at the end of event number 2 on the 1162 ignition cycle. When the vehicle ultimately comes into the impound yard, and this is actually before that, comes into the impound yard, it has 12,665 miles. That's a difference, did the math for you here, of 36 miles. Okay, let's consider where that could have come from. So we look at the various paths and descriptions of where Miss Reed's Lexus was driven after leaving 34 Fairview on the night of this event, up until the point in time the vehicle ended up at the Canton Police Department. So we used Google Maps. We adjusted for the correct date and time of the year. And then what you also see is we adjusted for the correct time of day. So although you can't really see that, let me see if I can blow it up. So you can see that's looking at the mileage and time. Again, really didn't use the time, just use the mileage on Saturday, January 29th at around 12 a.m. That, of course, does not take into account the weather.
And what are the addresses? It's hard to see on the top from where to where.
That is hilarious. Babes, I'm sorry. Did your accident reconstructionist just say that we know that 2.3 miles would have taken 6 or 7 minutes, not including the weather? Oh, that's a problem. Because if Officer John O'Keefe was struck at 12:32 and some change, and KarenRead had connected back to One Meadow Wi-Fi at 12:36, I do not give one shit if she was, in the driveway, at the front, wherever she was. It doesn't matter that she turned off the vehicle at 12:42. She was connected to that Wi-Fi at 12:36. Therefore, ergo, it would have been impossible for her to have struck Officer John O'Keefe at 12:32. Now, another interesting fact is I understand that the weather was different from 12:30-ish to 6 o'clock in the morning. But Kerry Roberts testified in trial 1 that it took 10 or 12 minutes for them to get from One Meadow to 34 Fairview. but it was still snowing. And let's just say, in the best case scenario, it took them double the time. Well, that would have been 5 to 6 minutes. And 5 to 6 minutes is still greater than 3.5 minutes, which is the bullshit that you are saying that Karen, who had never been to 34 Fairview, that she just knew where to go and was just tucking and rolling and incredible at picking out how to get somewhere. She was like, oh, I know my way. I'm going to smell my way home. Okay. I'm sniffing it out. All right. Directions are for losers. I'm finding my way. Mm.
So this is from 34 Fairview to 1 Meadows Avenue, which is Mr. O'Keefe's residence.
And there are other mileage that you have there?
Correct. So we basically ran through the entire path.
I'm sorry, Mimi. I didn't mean to scare you. Last night, I was abruptly cut off by the World Wide Web and potentially Hank Brennan. Okay. Is he a demon that lives in my Wi-Fi? Yes.
As we understood it, again, we didn't have complete information. We didn't know the exact roads. We didn't know if
Well, it's a lot of
turnaround,
variables.
stuff like that. So you're seeing the suggested available paths, and we end up with a range of data. So we go through all the paths, and you can see that this is what we end up at the bottom here, which is very hard to see. So the minimum suggested route is 36 miles, 36.1 technically. We have a range of 37.9 and 39.7, but again, that's right in the range of the 36 miles. So that's a data point that's starting to build our confidence in what is in the text stream data being related to our event.
This is all an effort to match whether or not the 1162 data is relevant to a particular event.
Objection, Your Honor.
Let me ask it this way. Matching all the,
Yeah, but I don't understand this, babes, because 12665 to 12629, they're saying it's 36 miles. Okay. But the 36 miles, I'm not understanding, because the car had already gotten back to the Canton Police Department Sallyport, and then it was always put on a tow. It was never supposed to be just driven around. They only drove it. They only had driven the vehicle, Karen's vehicle, in the at Canton Police Department in the parking lot, right? So I don't get what you're saying.
distances by miles. Is this the only way you're trying to determine whether 1162 is the event in front of 34 Fairview Road?
No. So again, these things are all tools. You can't take necessarily one data point in a vacuum. You need to consider the totality of the data, which is what I did. So we mentioned the continuous clock
Okay,
that was in
Kevin.
there, or the running clock that was in the vehicle. So what you see over here,
Could you
I
remind
mentioned-
that for us, Doctor?
I am doing that right now. You can see we have the time.
Oh God.
And again, I've converted it in blue to minutes and seconds.
God, he loves blue. Okay. We're gonna get to finger painting later, babes. But doesn't this look like something that was made by a third grade class that is going over photosynthesis? Okay. We've got a couple of slides here from Mrs. Rice, our third grade teacher, who taught us about the plant life cycle. The what? What the fuck is this? You're supposed to be a goddamn respected crash reconstruction, and you're a biomedical engineer. Oh, I've seen circles done better by less, you know?
This is the first trigger on that key cycle. So on key cycle 1162, there was two separate events. The vehicle keeps a continuously running clock. So
Oh,
we're able to see the time each event occurred relative to when the vehicle was started,
well,
and the difference between the two events.
629.
Okay. So at trigger event 1162-1, we know that the ignition has been on between 10 minutes and 57.4 seconds.
Yeah.
Or that's when the trigger is. Sorry, 10 minutes, 57.4 seconds.
Okay, babes, this is going to get way too in the weeds. We don't give a shit, okay? Because we're going to hear all about this tomorrow. It'll be crossed like a son of a gun, and it will probably make sense. But I do want to get to the trigger. Oh no, that's a 3-point turn. I want the backup event, and then I want the medical stuff because you and I, we're gonna get it.
Sure.
Oh, read your papers. Oh God, if he hits that microphone one more time.
So we have the accelerometer data here.
Just turning up the quality, babes, for you. Because you're my quality.
I've highlighted a shift from drive to neutral to reverse.
I'm sorry, let me zoom that in so we can see it.
Absolutely. We have information on the brake switch, brake oil pressure. We have the acceleration data here. And then from that information and using the acceleration data, calculating the speed at which it's backing up. The reason we have slightly different calculations here is we have some evidence that the wheel's slipping on the ground. So we need to use the accelerometer because the wheel speed is simply telling you the speed of the wheel.
Wheels were
if you're stationary burning rubber,
on the
the speedometer
ground.
reads a certain speed, but you're not going anywhere. But the accelerometer tells you how much the vehicle's moving.
What?
So from all that information, we get information on how far the vehicle's traveled. We've done it in terms of total travel distance. We've done it relative to the start position.
I'm going to ask you to start on the columns on the left and take us through the information that you have regarding this second triggering event. So if you can scroll all the way to the left.
All the way to the left.
Look, he doesn't even know. Where's
So the
Waldo?
first column
Where
regarding
the
time,
fuck is
you remind us again what
Waldo?
that is.
So again, that's the continuous running clock.
And the second column in blue.
That's where I take that time and convert it to what we more commonly use, minutes and seconds.
And now we have a key cycle event, different than the 3-point turn. What's the number?
So this is now 1162-2. So again, it's technically in the system the same key cycle. I called it 1162-2.
And the red number next to it to the right.
That's the mileage. So it's actually at the same mileage as 1162-1. So we know they're within the same mile.
If you could scroll over a couple of columns. From your data, can you tell during that event how far the Lexus
How
got
long?
during that event?
Yeah.
And how do you do that?
So we have accelerometer data. We have velocity data.
Babes, in what world is KarenRead's? How are the tires slipping when the snow had just started to stick? I mean, we're not having spin out like we were the next day in Dighton when you see her vehicle being backed up for exactly 5 seconds. Ding, 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 ding. And the tires rotating. But what do I know?
Or speed data back here. I corrected for what you see down here is, and I go through this on a later slide, but right here you can see a significant increase in RPMs, but yet the acceleration is dropping. So what that means is if your RPMs are going up and the speed's going up, that means you should be accelerating more. But what happens because the acceleration is dropping, that means what's actually happened is the wheel's slipping. So what I've done is I've used the
Well, and we know that Attorney Alessi is going to beat this bitch up. Okay, get ready because Attorney Alessi is not going to play around. You're telling me that a 7,000-pound Lexus vehicle was losing traction, was unable to get a grip, a gorilla grip on the pavement with snow that had just started to stick on the ground. Oh my.
accelerometer data. to calculate the speed once the vehicle is put into reverse. And once we know the speed, again, feet per second, we know every data point is half a second. So speed.
All right, babes, we're going down to standard definition for the love of Jesus.
Times time tells you how far you moved.
Thank you.
Feet per second, feet divided by seconds times seconds gives you feet.
Oh,
That's how far you went. So you get how far you went in each interval. Then you get the total distance traveled. And so this is relative to the start. So 0 is the start. The vehicle goes forward about 34 feet.
okay. 34 feet.
You can see it basically stops in this area here.
Then it
Then
stops.
begins to back up and ends up backing a total of 53 back from where it originally started. So
Back.
if you add 53 to 34, you get 87. So the total motion, 34 forward, 53 back, the Lexus moved 87 feet total.
Dr. Welcher, when you say the Lexus
Okay. And with that 83 feet, right? Is that it? Yeah. No. 87 feet. Okay. Babes, when did Karen try to stop the vehicle? So if there was this acceleration, the tires are slipping. They're unable to get their pulse of traction. It's a 63 Skylark, right? It's unable to get the traction. But there was no braking maneuvers that were noted. Like, I mean, like emergency brake pull to stop your Lexus going at 24.2 miles per hour? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Stop it.
moved 83 feet total, is that according to the data or is that the entirety of the movement of that Lexus?
No, that's just from when the data starts to when the data ends. So if you look at when the data starts, you can see that the vehicle is actually going 13.67 miles an hour. When the data stops, the vehicle is still going 23 miles an hour. And you can see,
What?
you can still and see that it's still at 74% throttle.
Oh.
So, this is 3/4 of full throttle in reverse.
So to start with the distance traveled, if you can go to the top, we see that
Wait a minute. So are you saying that at the end of the trigger event, that Karen was still at the highest rate of speed, and yet she didn't smash into Brian Higgins' white Jeep that was parked right in front of the mailbox? No one saw anything when Karen raced her vehicle like an absolute lunatic, like she was Mario Andretti's wife on January 29th, 2022? And she was able to get up to speeds that no other individual in all of the land has ever done? But then it was still going, and we don't know how it ended up stopping? She would have been down. She would have hit Cedar Crest to stop it. And wouldn't she have had a hard time braking if she couldn't get, if she was having a hard time to get her speed up and the tires were losing grip? To stop, you'd have even a harder time. Oh, I think you're full of shit. You are full of shit up to your eyeballs, up to your new fucking goatee, Welcher.
the speed is 13.67.
He went to Turkey.
Is that where the data gets picked
Allegedly.
up?
That's where the first data point is. Again, the trigger is here. This is 5 seconds before the trigger.
Are you able to tell how fast or slow the vehicle's traveling before that data point of 5 seconds before the trigger?
No.
And likewise, on the bottom, the speed. At the end of the 10-second data points at 23.61, can you tell whether or not that speed stayed the same, increased, or decreased?
I mean, considering you're at 74% throttle, it likely increased. How much, I don't know. And you can see that up here, she's on the brake. Down here, she's not on the brake. And so she's, not on the brake, and it's 74% throttle.
What is the percentage of throttle that has to be initiated to cause a triggering event?
For a shift into rear and a rapid throttle application, it's 30%.
If you look at the next column over, if you can go to the top heading for the jury to see the engine RPM data, could you explain that?
Sure. Again, that's the engine RPMs. And so, as I mentioned,
So if you had just like put your foot and you pedaled to the metal 4%, I think that, babes, we would 100% need to slam on said brakes, and there would have been a triggering event. But I digress. Abby Garcia says, "I love you, Nurse Kim. Please do another collab with Batty Bettero soon." I'm texting. Okay, I'm texting because I need a dose of attorney Mark Bettero in our lives this week, if he shall grace us with his presence. He may say, "Fuck off, Kim," but I'll try my best to get him here for you, Lovey. Oh, and Valerie, thank you so much, babe. You're the best ever. Thank you for being you.
you have this jump in engine RPMs and a very dramatic jump in the reported speed of the vehicle.
We had a dramatic
But when you look at the acceleration is actually dropping. So again, that's a telltale sign that the tire's spinning because the vehicle is not being accelerated. And so I've used the accelerometer data. Again, if you just a process called integration.
Babes, Karen had dramatic gay tires. Okay. I don't want to talk about it. Dramatic gay tires were just spinning out everywhere. They were twirling. Okay. She had twirling tires. Oh.
You integrate the accelerometer data, it will give you the velocity. So what I've done is it's called piecewise integration to get the speed data that takes into account the tire slippage, and from there calculate the speed or the position at each interval going across the top here.
I could stop
He
you
doesn't
at
know.
your column.
He's confused by his
You
own
get the
work.
speed
Me
at
too,
each time
pal.
step.
Yep.
Could you go to the bottom, please? So does your data indicate that the speed is changing at the end of the 10-second event? Is the speed changing at the end of this event?
Yes.
How so?
Well, again, you can see it's increased about 2.7 miles per hour. And again, we know from what I already stated that last time step, you're still at 74% throttle and you have zero brake application.
Is it possible from the data to tell how far the Lexus went forward before it went in reverse in total as far as feet?
Not in total, no. We just have this 10-second window. I can tell you what it did during this 10-second window.
Is it possible to tell how far it continued after the data?
No.
But there wasn't another
Changes from
trigger.
1 to 0 to 2. Can you again explain to us what that means?
Sure. 1 is drive, 0 is neutral, 2 is reverse. And then brake switch status. Again, a 1 is you're on the brake pedal, enough to activate the brake lights. 0 is you're off the brake pedal.
Each one of those indicated 1, 0, 2. How much time is for each of those?
0.5 seconds.
So can you tell?
0.5 seconds. Donna also she works for the Commonwealth on the weekends, and she says maybe she did a 3-point turn and then just, said tuck and roll and open the door, because none of this makes sense. That is terrifying. And I fear for all of us. Okay. This is the wildest reenactment. This is an absolute fiction, science fiction. We are in the upside down, and we need to find our way out, babes.
How long the Lexus was in neutral for?
So again, it only occurs at one time step. And again, there's a little timing issue. We only have data every half second. You don't know exactly where in that time it was.
Jesus fuck.
Okay. You can continue, Dr.
We're supposed to trust you, but there's a little timing issue.
Next slide or continue on this slide?
Unless there's something else you want to point out to the jury on this slide. You
Nope,
can do
good.
the next.
So similarly, using this information to then try to tie it back
Keep trying.
to the cell phone data to make sure we have the real-time information. Again, this was written back in January, before I got the additional information. So what
Oh,
you
to
can
get
see
another
is,
pair of pearls.
zoom in. Again, we're now talking about trigger 1162.2. We know that that's 18 minutes that the vehicle's been on, 18 minutes, 57 seconds, 19 minutes, 2 seconds. This is the range. Again, the plus or minus 5 seconds. 19 minutes, 2 seconds is when the trigger occurred. Infotainment system, adding those two together, 12:36, plus the 19:7.5 indicates the end of 1162-2 is at 12:31:43.
Oh.
That 12:31:43, is it based on the Lexus clock from the infotainment system?
It is. It would need to be corrected to the O'Keefe cell phone data.
When you reconcile that variance of 21.9 seconds, what is the time?
It's double
You
pearl
end up
time,
with
babe.
12:32:04. So if you simply take this and add 21 seconds to it and add 29 seconds to it, so you get between 12:32:04 and 12:32:12.
When you reconcile the two clocks and you have that range of 12:32:04 to 12:32:14.
12:32:12.
I'm sorry, 12:32:12. Does that simply accommodate the window of data, but not before and after?
Correct. So, again, even on John's O'Keefe cell phone, even within his cell phone, there's somewhere between 21 to 29 seconds difference on his cell phone. So even that one piece of instrumentation has some variance to it.
Oh.
So we know it's between 21 to 29 seconds at this approximate time. So this is taking into account that variance.
So the only time window that you have is based on the data, and that's reflected in the 12:32:04 to 12:32:12.
12:32.
Is there any other window you can accommodate with the data you have other than that 10-second window?
Yes.
What's that?
So I was given information about a final walk event on the phone.
Okay.
Let's stick with this window if we can.
Okay.
Since you only have 10 seconds of data, is it possible
Look at that watch.
from the Lexus clock data to have a larger window than the 10-second window?
No, the Lexus, or excuse me, the tech stream will only give you a
He's like,
10-second
no.
window, but it doesn't tell the whole story because the vehicle's still moving.
Understood. Okay, continue, please.
He's like, follow along, Hank. Okay. I made this for you. What are you, too good now, Hank? What are you not keeping up with what the fuck I'm trying to say? No, no one is, sir. Not one soul is understanding what you're saying. This is very confusing, and we're not dumb.
So I have this other event, a lock event,
Oh.
and the information I was given that's at 12, it's 12:32:09. And so we have the tech stream data ending at somewhere between 12:32:04 and 12:32:12, which puts this number right in the middle of that, more or less.
Babes, more or less? Really? Oh, more or less. That's kind of what it was. Is this like I did experiments and stuff? The crime scene spoke to me? Aperture, I don't know if your company is actually a step up from Trooper Paul. Words matter. And your kind of flagrant throwing around of, yeah, well, more or less. There's still, there's this not discrepancy. We have this window of time. But yeah, we made it fit.
Continue.
Is this a good place to take a lunch?
Oh, it
break?
is. It's a good place for all of us to take a break.
So we'll take 45 minutes for lunch.
All right, we're getting back here. Sorry, babes.
Application, increase in the RPMs. But when you look at the effects on the vehicle, you can see that it's accelerating less. So that's indicative of slippage of the wheels. And then I simply show at the bottom the math I use to derive all that. So again, we touched on most of this. It's the same slide you saw before, just to show how corrected for the speed.
If you could zoom in for a second, I want to ask you a question about the RPM column.
RPM column, go ahead.
If you could zoom in.
Oops.
We've got to
You see in the
know.
last line, the last piece of data captured, the RPMs changed from 3,200 to 3,300.
Oh,
Correct.
And the accelerators is fair to say, is that depressed? What's the way you characterize that?
Sustained.
How would you characterize 74? What does that mean?
I mean, it's 3/4 of full throttle. It's 74% of full throttle.
If above it's 74.5, it drops to 73.5 and then back to 74. Why is the RPM higher than above?
So there's, again, this data is referred to as being asynchronous. You're recording it at particular times, but the computer's scanning the network for the data. So it's not all on exactly the same time step. Not only that, but there's frequently,
Sorry.
there frequently is a delay from when you step on the accelerator pedal to when that translates to increased RPM at the engine. It takes a little time to build it up or take it down.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
takes a little
So similar to
time.
what we did on the first one, basically what we did is we took all the text stream data that we had, which includes the shifting, the forward, the reverse,
Hi,
and
Debbie.
the steering. Again, there's a tiny bit of leftward steer, and put that into a simulation program where we're simulating what the Lexus will do. So we've taken into account the mechanical characteristics, the steering response of the Lexus. So this is to show what it represents on the left-hand side. So each one of these little hash marks, a different color, represents 10 feet. The red
Oh.
lines show the extent of motion. Remember what I said, initially pulled forward, then backed up, past its initial spot, and then went backwards further distance. So what this shows is where we simulated this in a program called HVE. So that's the vehicle, the Lexus pulling forward,
Okay.
and then it accelerated in reverse, past its initial starting position, and came to rest right there.
Doctor, when you say it came to rest there, do you
I'm
have
sorry,
data that the defendant's Lexus stopped there?
no, it did not come to rest. That misspoke. That's where the text stream data ends. As you can see here,
Oh,
it's still going.
it's still going. Where is it going?
It's still going approximately 23 miles an hour when that ends.
You'll have to zoom in on that so the jury can see what you're referring to. Please.
So again, I
Please.
mentioned
He's like, please.
the text stream's taking a window of
save us.
data. It doesn't take anything outside the window. You can see that when we
Absolutely. Jay says, another witness, bro, take my word for it. She hit him with a bunch of word salad thrown in. That's what this is, babes. This is smoke and mirrors. We have like a small spreadsheet here whipped together by Mrs. Rice's third grade class. Just putting numbers, right? They were just like 8675309. And you're telling me that KarenRead's Lexus vehicle was all over the road. Okay. This poor Lexus is basically a piece of shit. It's not like a four-wheel drive vehicle. Yes, it is. And it was unable to just get its shit together. Dramatic gay tires, slipping and sliding all over the place. Can't catch it for shit. And yet she keeps going and she just goes down, cruises down basically half of Fairview Road and not a soul sees her because she hits 87 feet in reverse. And that was the length that is captured in the event. And then there was not another triggering event with a hard slam on the brakes in order to stop her vehicle from going out of control. Get the actual fuck out of town. And for that, I say this. Oh, we know something may be coming.
I know something's weird, and now I know it. That's why your whole jug is out. I understand. I thought this was happening. Y'all are running game.
Her jugs are just out because this is what they normally are doing.
Yuck. Yuck, Jesse. What y'all are doing right now is gross.
Yeah, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And your little friend, too. Aperture. Crapature. Don't let the door hit you on the assature on the way out. Fuck ya.
account for the wheel slippage, that the vehicle at
forgive
the
me,
time
sorry,
of the
Karen,
last data
you-
point,
Mary.
again, is at 74% throttle, 3,300 revolutions per minute.
I'm very confused. Continue.
There are 3 different mileage numbers.
Yes.
And then there's speeds to the left. Can you explain what's set out in that box?
Sure, it's basically 3 different routes you can go: Sherman Street, Pleasant Street, Washington, and Sherman Street.
When you considered the shortest route, 2.3 miles on Sherman Street, did you attempt to?
Ding, ding, ding. Norman Corey. Thank you so much, Levy. Riddle me this. If Trooper Paul did his testing at 1164 key cycle, how would 1162 be Karen, seeing as she had turned the car on and driven more than 2 times before it got back to Canton Police Department? We know that, babes. When she's leaving when she's leaving the Waterfall, she goes where? To 34 Fairview. From 34 Fairview, she goes to 1 Meadows. Okay, that's that. Then she turns on the car again. She goes out and she goes to Jennifer McCabe's house. Did she turn the car off? I don't know. Okay. But let's just say it's 1. All right. Let's say she doesn't turn off the car. She leaves it on running the whole time because she's out of her tits. Then they get back into her car. They go over to back over to 1 Meadows. Then the car is turned off. They get into Kerry Roberts' car and they go back. They go to 34 Fairview. They find John. Then Karen is transported by ambulance. And then she gets back to the house and they pick up her car. So that already, for her turning on her vehicle at the least amount of times the ignition cycle was turned on, it would have had to be 1161, babes. There is no other way. There could have been more stops in between. I don't know 100%. Did somebody stop for gas? I don't know. All I'm just saying is this, is that there is at the very least, 3 key cycles. Oh no, 4, because then her car has to be turned on again and put back on the tow truck and the tow bed, and then it's driven off the tow truck. So that's 5. So how is KarenRead having this triggering event at 1162 if there are 5 key cycles at minimum between that time and between whenever she was at 34 Fairview, allegedly, and no, that did happen when she was at 34 Fairview dropping Officer John O'Keefe off, and by the time her vehicle was tested in Canton Police Department, in the parking lot. 5. So it would have had to be that when Karen had gone from the Waterfall to 34 Fairview, the soonest it could have been in the key cycles could have been 11:59. Am I right, Norman? 11:59 would have been the earliest, right? $11:59 or before. It could have never been 11:60, 61, or 62. And I know that Mr. Alessi and Alan Jackson will explain that way better, because I just sounded like I don't even know, like squirrels running in my brain. I'm sorry, babes, but I was trying to go through it all.
To determine how long it would take to travel 2.3 miles, how fast the car would have to be moving, or how slowly it would have to be moving to travel 2.3 miles in 4 minutes and 15 seconds?
Yes.
And what did you determine?
So to go 2.3 miles in 4 minutes and 15 seconds, you would need an average speed of 32.47 miles an hour.
What if you took the longest route?
15 seconds. That's what they say.
And you consider 2.8 miles in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Did you make a determination?
I did.
Could you share that with the jury?
It's 39.5 miles per hour.
Oh,
Is that what the average speed of the Lexus would need to be to travel that distance in that
Correct.
time?
oh, he was having a rough day already. Right there. He said, please, Jesus, take the wheel, because I can't do it. That's what he said. All right, let's try to go here, babes. I just want to get him to tell us that is what he thinks. He said, Karen could get there. Don't worry. Don't make it weird. She got there in
As
4
to
minutes max.
The type of triggering event, the type of movement of the defendant's Lexus in those two triggering events.
I do.
Regarding the first triggering event, 1162-1, do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty what type of event the first triggering event was?
I'm going to allow that.
The actual
No
trigger
allow it.
was excessive rearward acceleration. The event was during the course of a 3-point turn.
And do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty the time between triggering event 1 and triggering event 2 in that cycle 1162?
Yes.
And could you share with the jury your opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty the time between those two triggering events?
Oh, he's trying.
Approximately 8
breathing.
minutes and 5 seconds.
And do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty as to the type and triggering event of the second event, 1162-2?
I do.
And could you share with the jury your opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty the type of event to that second triggering event?
I'm going to allow it.
It's, again, the trigger event itself was a transition into reverse and then high throttle application. It's a forward motion followed by a lengthy high-speed rear impact.
High
or rear
throttle.
motion.
Yes, I'm not going to highlight it. So get the answer again.
Let me ask the question again, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Leslie, yes, right? I'll strike the previous answer. Go ahead and ask the question again.
Okay. Do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty as to the nature of the second triggering event, 1162-2?
Yes.
Could you share your opinion with the jury?
The trigger event was high throttle opening in a transition to reverse. It's a forward motion followed by a higher speed rear motion. And at the end of the trigger event, you're still at 74% throttle.
Do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty the entire distance captured in that 10-second window during the back maneuver or 1162-2?
Do I have an opinion about it?
Do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty?
Oh.
Yes. The entire distance that is captured in that 10-second window of the second triggering event, 1162-2.
So it obviously only captures what's going on during the trigger. It doesn't capture before or after the trigger.
Understood. Do you have an opinion as to just what is captured as far as the distance?
Yes,
And what is your opinion?
that it's 87 feet.
Hi, Bubba.
So again, the initial forward motion is 34 feet, followed by it backing, crossing the initial point, and then backing up an additional 53 feet.
And finally, regarding this part of your analysis, do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty as to whether the defendant's Lexus was decelerating, accelerating, or remaining the same at the end of that data captured at the triggering event 1162-2?
It was accelerating at 74% throttle.
How cringy is that, babes? This expert hired as a hired gun, literally by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, to get all of the pieces together and that they needed to make this work, that they were making an example out of prosecuting and persecuting KarenRead for a second time in Norfolk Superior Court. Stop it. You hired these mofos and they are muffin it up left and right. Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man? His name's Man Shan. Do you know the Muffin Man? You muffed up this friggin' case. You're confused. I'm confused. The jury hates all of you.
In addition to your analysis of the text stream data, one final question.
Oh,
Do you
he's
have
still
an opinion to a
confused.
reasonable degree of engineering certainty, the relative time this backing maneuver occurred with the defendant's Lexus that you just spoke about?
Yes,
And could you share with the jury your opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty?
sure. It matches the window of the cell phone data for Mr. O'Keefe that puts it in front of.
Yeah, it matches nothing. We deny you. Okay. Now the Lexus, he does this. Oh, babes, he does overlays. Okay. He's been working on Canva, whatever it's called. And he made these overlays of how Karen and Officer John O'Keefe's
This
vehicles
would be maximum
could have
engagement.
touched tips. Okay.
Again, this is
Did they touch
just
tip
toggling
or did they
frame
not?
88.
Was
Showing we
there
have the time
a
and the frame
tail
number.
light fight? He's going to tell us his opinion.
369 on the same slide. We've now overlaid the Lexus laser scans on top of the image of the Lexus. So there's the video image, a still image that we took from the video. And here's where we overlay the laser scan of the Lexus.
Oh, he did
So
a
we overlay the
laser.
laser scan of the Lexus onto the Lexus. We've overlaid
Put
the
a
laser
Lexus
scan
on a
of the
Lexus.
Chevrolet onto the Chevrolet. We've overlaid the laser scan of the scene onto the scene. So now what that allows us to do, we now know the position of everything in there. And we've also tracked the position of the tire tracks. So
I have no idea.
that's
He's
what it looks
mapped
like if you
position.
overlay the computer model of Mr. Reed's vehicle onto the
Hold on, guys. I'm going to go up on this. Come on. Come on. Up the quality. More passion.
tire tracks. Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. Slide 89, and then I'm just toggling slide 89 where I turn the vehicle off. So you can see how the tire positions match up. Another toggle of slide 89, how the tire positions line up with where the end of the snow was. From all that information, again, we lined it up in the video, we lined it up in the scene, we have the two vehicles. We can get the exact position of the vehicles when that Lexus stopped. So when that
That's
Lexus
not right.
stopped, that's going to be the maximum engagement. So from that,
No. No. Okay. Listen. Is Nurse Kim an accident reconstructionist? Frig no. But I hope that ARCA has better visuals because we remember, babes, we saw the video. Karen's vehicle did not hit the trunk or the hatchback of Officer John O'Keefe's car. She hit it. Her middle of her back, right, was of the back of her vehicle was cruising up, and then she touched, in my opinion, the side of Officer John O'Keefe's right rear quarter panel and bumper with her right taillight in my brain. As it looked like it added up to me, but I can't see. She didn't hit the back of his vehicle. It was more on the side, kitty cornered. Am I right?
that information, we can get the angle of the vehicle. We can get the degree of overlap, the impact configuration.
Oh, this is Canva.
And it's hard to see because of the angles and because these vehicles are not at right angles to each other. The exact contact.
This is Timu.
Now, I mentioned that we're on slide 94 now. That contact on the rear of the Chevy Traverse. So you can see we actually, I mean, you can't see.
Yeah, oh yeah, we can't see it. Exactly, Judd.
So we took a whole bunch of data points within those two areas where the snow got
Judd
dislodged,
asshole.
and we're looking at where that is. So if you look at that on the vehicle, so this is where it is on the rear
No,
of Mr. O'Keefe's Chevrolet. You see it's about 25 and a half inches above ground, 32 and a half inches above ground. Here's Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle. So these marks are kind of, this is the Chevy Traverse words,
okay.
are approximately right here. Again, I had the opportunity to inspect Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle. There's no damage where these marks are. So sure, it knocked the snow off, but it wasn't sufficient to cause damage to his vehicle. We then mapped that data onto Ms. Reed's vehicle to look at where that height is.
What a
So you see the only
madman.
contact marks are down at the bumper level. I mentioned
Why are the windows open? Are you some kind of sicko? Put the windows up, Judd.
And how that bumper sticks out, this is exactly where you'd expect it. So the only evidence of contact is nowhere near the upper taillight. I emphasize the word upper taillight because it is right in line with the lower taillight.
What?
But yet the lower taillight also was not broken.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. The lower tail light was not broken. Oh, I have questions, Levy. Because when we see KarenRead's Lexus vehicle, when it's been taken pictures by Mass State Crime Lab, Maureen Hartnett, looks wildly broken into 47 pieces. Double clutch.
So again, 25 and a half, that's 24
Thank you, Leslie,
right here,
for becoming a
25 and a
member.
half. That's 24 right here, 25, 25 and a half. That's right where that scuff mark was. It's also right.
Well, look at, don't you have the tail light? Oh, the housing's gone. Okay. Just
That's again the level
Okay.
at the top of that light. This light is not broken. I've looked at the front of it. I've looked at the back of
Oh.
it. I've looked all around it. It's not broken, and it sticks out further than the light above it. So using those positions, matching the overlay of the
Okay.
vehicles.
Okay, I'm lost. We're lost. Let us pray. We need to go to medical reconstruction because this is big doings, babes. And this is where we shine. This is our stuff because definitely Attorney Alessi is going to handle everything with making his mumbo jumbo make sense tomorrow. But there was some new things that I found that kind of were mind blowing, in my opinion, regarding Officer John O'Keefe.
Slide 104.
Injury
So
and
this
pictures
is
he
a-
had.
Is this 105, Dr. Welcher?
I'm sorry, 105. Yeah, sorry. Slide 105. This is a picture of Mr. O'Keefe's right arm, forearm, hand, and wrist. In anatomy, your arm is defined from your shoulder to your elbow, and then from your elbow to your wrist is your forearm, and then this is your hand. So technically, when you say arm, it really means from your elbow to your shoulder. Most people.
Nope. Nope. Oh, for medical professionals. Oh, I'm sorry. He's a doctor. I forgot. His mother said, whatever you want to do in life, Judd, we want you to do anything but become a doctor because that would bring shame to this family. Oh, he's too good to be a doctor, babes. And your arm is actually from your shoulder, right? You're right here, all the way down to your fingers. In medical terminology, that's your arm. That's your upper extremity. You have what's called an upper arm, a brachial region, and yes, you do have a forearm. Thank you. But an arm is not depicted or defined to your elbow in any definition. Thank you. Thank you, doctor. Doctor, not doctor.
People call this whole thing arm. It's actually the upper extremity.
Oh, right.
Arm is from shoulder to elbow. Elbow to wrist is forearm and hand. So you can see I wrote arm and forearm. So arm, elbow to shoulder, elbow to wrist is forearm. So looking at the injuries to Mr. O'Keefe's arm, forearm, as well as his hand.
Oh.
So
Go back.
this is me.
I'm sorry. Go back. I'm sorry, Levies. Be prepared. This is going to be a little bit jarring for us, okay? But I need to
looking at
stop.
The
wait, I need this.
injuries to
Wait a minute.
Mr. O'Keefe's arm, forearm, as well as his hand.
Boom. Okay. This is provided by, oh, where am I? Sorry, babes. This is provided by the Commonwealth. I have never seen this angle, okay? Babes. Holy shit. Defense team. Hi, Mr. Yannetti. It is your non-consensual intern. I need you to use this picture. And I'm sorry. God bless Officer John O'Keefe. God bless his soul. And I am so sad that he had to endure what he did on January 29th, 2022. But I'm going to tell you right the fuck now, beyond a reasonable doubt, that seeing these images, I have never been more convinced that that was an animal attack than seeing that right upper extremity right now. And to see his dorsum of his hand and those bruising, that bruising, loveys, look at near his knuckle. This is not just a specific round bruise with the 2 little pinpricks that we saw previously. This is huge. This is remarkable. And to show it to a jury in this fashion from this angle, I believe would be extremely clear and convincing. And I can't believe that it took Aperture to put it in a fucking slide deck, in my opinion. Oh, Miss Jess, it looks like bite scars on your leg. Oh, I'm sorry, lovey. I'm sorry if this is triggering. I'm going to take it off the screen. But this is very, very big to me, babes.
So this is me. I'm actually 6 feet, half an inch tall. What you see in the upper right is the coroner's examination report for Mr. O'Keefe. He's 73 inches tall. That's 6 feet, 1 inch tall. At this time, I was 220 pounds. Mr. O'Keefe, at the time of this incident, was 216 pounds. So I took measurements of myself. I'm actually wearing the same make and size shoes as Mr. O'Keefe, the same brand of jeans as Mr. O'Keefe, the same brand and size.
Oh, I messed up. Sorry, babes. I'm going to get us right back there. I did want to say that I find it very odd and off-putting, as Jimmy would say. And Kim, yes, you need to be off-putting. Why, oh, why did you go out and buy the same, like, clothing as Officer John O'Keefe? That's weird. Stop being weird. What did you need to go and like reenact with his same shirt with the same brand of jeans? Ew. Like, that's a waste of money. You build the Commonwealth for that?
At this time, I was 220 pounds. Mr. O'Keefe, at the time of this incident, was 216 pounds. So I took measurements of myself. I'm actually wearing the same make and size shoes as Mr. O'Keefe, the same brand of jeans as Mr. O'Keefe, the same brand and size shirt of Mr. O'Keefe. You see the Lexus in the background. We have matched the height to the Lexus. What I'm showing here is both my height, and then keep in mind where the height of this wing is relative to my right eye.
Now, this is interesting. They are going to try to talk some shit, babes. And they want to say that the upper, a spoiler, I guess, if it is a spoiler, like a rim job, the upper rim job of the Lexus. Now he's putting it where you would say, okay, is he going to try to tell you that it's in the, that it hit the occiput? No way. Impossible. Because Officer John O'Keefe's arm allegedly struck the tail light, right? So that doesn't work. So then he says, and you know he did his testing way previously. He says, look where my eye is. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking right at this. And your eyebrow is not where that spoiler is. And the back of your head is impossible for it to have been struck. So again, Commonwealth, you are absolutely, just biting your nose to spite your face. This is very weird. We've already tried this case. We tried it in trial number 1. And you guys dropped the ball and were not able to provide any sort of plausible explanation to the injuries sustained by Officer John O'Keefe. And somehow, how, you have even further confused me, and likely the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Northeast, the United States of America, and beyond. This is wild. You're making it seem like Officer John O'Keefe was playing Twister. Put your right hand on, a tail light. Put your oxyboner on the rim job of the Lexus. What are we doing here? Don't worry, I dressed up as you. Fucking weirdo.
So now I'm wearing, in addition, the same shirt and shoes, same type of sweatshirt, and actually the same kind of baseball hat. We tried to determine the exact glass from the Waterfall Grill. Found out they were getting different ones at different times, but I ordered my glass from the same distributor that Waterfall Grill ordered their glasses from. So you can see in my right hand here, I have a glass.
Oh.
Here's a glass. It looks similar. It's from the same location. And then in the lower right photograph, what I've done is I've rolled up my sleeve, taken the sweatshirt off, and I'm going to look at how this contact pattern lines up. So the first set of slides, I'm simply standing next to the Lexus. We know we have a broken taillight. We know how scratches on Mr. O'Keefe's arm. I'm seeing how those may or may not relate to the height and position of the taillight.
Dr. Welcher, if you could back up one slide, I have a question for you. In the middle photograph, at the top of the Lexus, there's like a rim. What do you call that?
I call it a wind wing. I mean, it could be a wing.
Okay, thank you.
I bought the same glass.
Dam would be another.
Oh.
Okay, so I then set about to do a little bit of testing with the Lexus.
Here we go,
First test
babe.
you're going to see
Finger
is
paint.
me just walking backwards, or actually sideways, into the Lexus. What I've done is I've painted the Lexus right rear tail light with what's called grease paint, and sort of like paint, but it doesn't dry. And then I have backed up sideways, side shuffled into the Lexus.
I just want to remind everybody, I'm so sorry because I keep pausing, but where he's even put the blue paint on this, that was not all taillight that was clearly affected. And if the Commonwealth theory were to have made sense, right, babes, we know that there would have had to be an initial point of impact. So if they're saying that Officer John O'Keefe, like, somehow was the bionic man, he had a steel arm, okay, he was he was the Terminator, and he broke KarenRead's taillight, there would have had to be an initial force. The inertia, the center part of the pressure would have been what had to break it, right? It wasn't all the same amount of weight at the side edge, right? Like right here, this was all intact. This was all intact. So that's impossible. His marks up here would have had to come from this part of said taillight. But if the elbow, which had the darkest and the most kind of severe and closest together marks, then it was a little bit more spread out, i.e. teeth or claws, because I don't know which one was which, but this does not add up either. So now you've just like reenacted via cosplay, dressing up as a fallen Boston police officer, which is unbelievably disrespectful, in my opinion, to his family, his friends, and this Commonwealth. Like, this was 100% unnecessary. You're making this like you're doing some sort of a pilot. Like, oh, we're trying to get our new show off the ground. It's weird. And you're including parts of a taillight that were undisturbed, which would not have made sense either. They've really screwed this.
Put my arm out, see what the damage pattern looks like. Or basically where someone of Mr. O'Keefe's height's arm would contact the rear taillight. So then what you see is I've shown the photographs again. I show the paint transfer onto my arm. The yellow grease paint on my hand was to show where my hand would hit the taillight. And so
Your hand hit the
just kind of me walking
taillight.
slowly sideways into it, the approximate location of the
Oh.
taillight, and I'll line it up with the broken taillight in a second, lines up with the approximate location of the lacerations on Mr. O'Keefe's arm.
All right, where's the video? Show me the video of you actually doing it.
I'm doing test 2. This is from a camera that we have pointing down at it.
Oh, wow. Just a stark difference here would be the fact that you were just gently bumped at approximately what, less than a mile or a mile an hour, not even? When you're alleging that Karen drove this at 24.2 miles an hour? Stop it. Stop it. Are we circle jerking the Commonwealth right now? Like, is everyone just sitting next to one another, just HJing away? What are we doing?
This is the speed. You'll see it's only about a 2-mile-an-hour impact. But even a 2-mile-an-hour impact
2
redirects
miles
me
an
back
hour.
and causes me to rotate and take a step.
Oh, it causes him to rotate.
Yes.
Look how I was able to place my arm exactly where I would like to place the arm in order to make this work for the Commonwealth. And this was test number 2. I'm pretty sure this was test number 22. And excuse me, loveys. And that this is not an actual experiment because there's no variable that equals other than your outfit, you poser. That's the only thing that is the same as January 29th, 2022.
And what slide is this? I think I just can't see it. What slide is this?
114.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One moment, Dr. Welcher. When you were showing us this video, you walked to the side of the passenger side of the car, didn't you?
I did.
And why did you do that?
I was discussing with them what to do.
You were discussing with who what to do.
The driver.
Yeah. Then there was a question about that slide and if he
Relative to the curvature
had walked
of
like Officer
taillight,
Donald O'Keefe had to,
maybe
but he said that it wasn't that.
in the area somewhat centered within the region of the 2 yellow lines on slide 119.
Is there anything about the photograph in the top right-hand corner that's important? If so, could you zoom in and show us?
So again, it's showing that this is when it's, I believe, in the Sally Port at the police station, showing that scuff on the right rear body panel.
Did you see any
Nor did I. Alessi's fantabulous lexicon.
similar scuffs in the middle back of the car?
Sustained.
Did you see anything notable as far as damage to the middle back of this Lexus?
The middle,
Yes,
like back where the doors are,
with the middle of the back of the car, did you see any similar damage to the middle? or
there
the
were
left?
scuff marks that ran along the bumper.
Scuff marks that ran across the bumper. Well, that doesn't make sense either. Loveys, clutch your pearls for a double pearl clutch. What are you talking about? The bumper is what? It at the direct back of a vehicle. That is not a side swipe, right? So all of the injury or everything that had occurred must have occurred from the side, as we're looking up at this, where the finger paints McGee, where that is, that's where the impact had to happen. But then if you remember, the hair was somewhere around here. Watch my little clicker mouse here, right? So how did Officer John O'Keefe's, if it didn't come from his head, clearly, and his arm is all the way up here, what part of Officer John O'Keefe's body did one hair come from that's hung on for dear life? Okay? And had a miracle like Moses parting the Red Sea, and was found but unable to stay in one position even while Mass State Crime Lab was trying to take its picture. It was like, get me out. Just kidding. I've hung on enough. Take me out of here. It said, I bid you adieu, bitch. But it hung on for an entire 30-mile ride to Dighton and a flatbed ride home in a blizzard. And scuff marks of unknown origin, where you do not know if it came or at any time was caused by a human. But I'm pretty sure I've rubbed up against my car 1,000 times, and I have never scuffed the paint off of it with my blue jeans. And if there was said scuffed paint, wouldn't they have had that in the scrapings at Mass State Crime Lab? Wouldn't you say we see black paint, midnight black Lexus paint, right? I don't know.
Okay, continue, please.
Oh,
This is just showing his jacket he was wearing, that the
Levies, I'm just going to turn this. I got to go a little bit faster. I'm so sorry to Diane, who
puncture marks
was new here.
coincide to the
Sorry,
marks on
Diane.
his arm. This is
Okay, this is it.
from
And
the
we're gonna be
autopsy
done.
report. A couple things it notes.
Oh, please. Let us pray. Pray to the Lords of Wi-Fi. You're here for me. Wi-Fi. Oh, hold. Let's get physical. Physical. Oh, no. Well, you didn't like that, did you? Sorry, babes. How can I make you like me? All right, we're going to move a little further. Will that help you? She's a runner. She's a track star. Anytime. Anytime. And you know what I didn't do today, babes? Because I was fresh. I forgot to download the video. Ugh. Nope. I want to go back here quickly. All together again. We're here. We're here. Nope. Oh, he's sleeping.
Did you notice anything about Mr. O'Keefe's right knee?
I noticed there was a half centimeter abrasion on the right lateral knee.
Did you note how high from his foot that bruise was on his knee?
We don't know the exact length of his knee. The abrasion appears to be right here at knee level. If you go back and look at where my knee is, that would be at the proximate level of the bumper.
Oh.
Could you focus on the bumper to show it relative to the height of your knee?
Sure. Oops. So my knee is approximately right here. This is where the bumper is. To the side of Mr. O'Keefe.
So now they're saying, Levies, just let me do this here. So now they're trying to tell us that Officer John O'Keefe struck the bumper with the right lateral aspect of his knee. Well, that is wild because an awful lot more of his knee would have made contact, period. Right? And you wouldn't have just had a circular bruise. It wouldn't have happened. So I call bullshit on that too.
Keith's knee would be in this general area.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are we done with Ambien? I'm in an ambient mood. I don't know what that means.
So do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering?
Oh, here it is. We just want him to give this opinion.
Certainty about the lacerations on Mr. O'Keefe's right arm and forearm.
Okay, I'm gonna try to go down a little bit. Come on now. Everybody get up. Get down. I hate this. I hate the internet. Oh, I'm gonna fight with it for the rest of my life. We're just not doing well. She is not a champion.
Regarding its orientation relative to the broken taillight on the defendant's Lexus.
Yes. May I read my report, my opinion?
Yes, may I read your point? It says unavailable. What are you unavailable for? Comment? Are you unavailable for me? Are you unavailable for what?
The location and orientation of the laceration on John O'Keefe's right forearm and arm are consistent with the geometry and orientation of the right taillight of the Reed 2021 Lexus LX570.
Okay.
After considering these three different subjects that we discussed, the text stream data, analyzing the touching between the defendant's Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe's car, and then your demonstrations regarding the
Per
injury
usual, babe.
to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm, did you consider further evidence in reaching any conclusions as an accident reconstructionist
Why is he frozen?
and a biomechanical engineer?
Oh, loveys. Let's pray. Ready? We're gonna do a little bit of this one. We're gonna ask.
All right, great job
Dave
on the
Cullinane.
news.
Thank
All right, great job on the news.
Thank you.
All right, great job on the news.
Thank you.
We will, Courtney and I will
Yes, I
share
do.
what happened when we went to dinner last night, Sunday dinner coming up.
Could you
And as
slide 124, please?
So this is some of the location of the physical evidence.
All right, he got physical evidence, but this was also interesting. The one thing I wanted to go over with you guys, babe, was the hat. And the hat I really had never thought about. Come close to me. Okay.
Do you know if those photos were taken by the Canton Police Department?
The hat. Now, if we're going to talk about a shoe, right? You're like, okay, in an accident, a shoe, you can be knocked out of it. But a hat, I have questions. I never thought about that, loveys. And I am trying to wrap my head around what the Commonwealth is trying to tell us. You say that not only did Officer John O'Keefe get knocked out of one shoe, but he was knocked so hard in his arm that his hat flew off. Okay.
Do you know when exactly those photos were taken?
I don't, except I have them dated as February 3rd, but I think that may just be the baseball hat photos.
Okay.
Ooh. Ooh. But that's wrong. These weren't found on February 3rd, 2022. You have incorrect information, Judd. Okay, Juddy boy. This was found on January 29th, 2022. with the CERT team. So, what are you doing? If you don't know very important information, and when evidence was found in this case, then I think all of it is bullshit. Right, loveys? If he's incorrect on this, couldn't he be incorrect on everything else?
You continue.
Oh, and also, what is Maynard? Why does it say Maynard? Hold, please. The scene is Canton. Why does it say Maynard? Oh, this wasn't in Maynard, Massachusetts. It's Canton. File folder, Maynard. Scene photo, 2202378. Huh. Wait a minute. CSSS, file folder, Maynard. Scene photo, 2202378 Canton, taken 3/23/22. Blood found and Keefe's hat at scene or near John O'Keefe's point of rest. That's weird. Loveys, what was in Maynard? Why is Maynard on this? Huh. Oh, anytime. Okay, we're going to autoplay off on that. Crash test dummies. Yes. And then I just want to hear his final conclusion. Let us conclude. Amen. We're going to do a better job tomorrow, babes. Oh, for the
Metrics
love.
of where his injuries were and what injuries he didn't sustain.
And what injuries he didn't sustain. Go ahead. Continue, sir. Oh, come on, Mr. Welcher. Please. For the love. Anytime. Sorry, babes. I literally am breaking the internet. This wheel of death is going to make me
cell
cry.
phone data, and then I've looked at Miss Reed's interviews as well.
Based on all the evidence you consider, could you share with the jury what your opinion is to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty about whether the defendant's Lexus struck Mr. O'Keefe on January 29, 2022, around 12:32 a.m.?
Yes, based on the totality of the evidence, DNA, everything I talked about, that is consistent with that happening. The reasonable degree of scientific certainty, that is what happened.
He said to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty. That was it. Okay, now let me get her out of here. Judge Cannoni, thank you for everything you've done. Oh, and oh wait, I didn't even watch this. What happened here?
If the issue is whether or not a defendant has stabbed the individual and caused.
Wait, what? What happened here, guys? Do we know? How did I not watch this? Oh, look at Liza. I can't even. I love her bangs and an updo.
That is the ultimate question for the jury. That question is never permissible in a trial. By analogy, this is the exact analogous situation.
Who is
the
this?
question of whether there was a collision is the ultimate question for the jury. That is why we are having this trial. the defense strongly asserts there
Oh.
was no collision, and there is
God.
substantial evidence to that. We are going to cross-examine Dr. Welcher. We are going to put in our own strong case to demonstrate no collision occurred. That's no
Yeah.
surprise. It was in our opening statement. This witness cannot, by precedent for years, opine on the ultimate question that is going to the jury. I accept, subject to evidentiary issues, the two questions that a biomechanist always answers in these situations. Is the damage to the vehicle consistent with a pedestrian hitting the vehicle? And are the injuries to the individual consistent with being hit by a motor vehicle? Those are the questions that are permissible, not the collision question. It is resoundingly improper in this trial, in any trial where that is the ultimate conclusion for the jury. Yes, an expert can offer opinions, but every expert is bounded by the extent of their opinion. And that opinion on whether there was a collision would invade the province of the jury and the whole
Truth.
why we are here, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brennan.
So what Mr. Lisi is arguing is that in their opening statement, they repeatedly invaded the province of the jury because they must have asserted vehemently over and over again there was no collision, over and over and over again. And he just told you that when his expert case stands, they'll have abundant evidence that there was no collision. This case is about the collision, but that is not the ultimate issue. The ultimate issue is manslaughter or mens rea for second-degree murder, not collision. They don't get to define the prosecution's case. They do not get to define or limit the prosecution's opinions. They have no case law. They have no study. They have no jurisdiction or jurisprudence to say what we are limited.
Well, wait, but they do, right, Loveys? Because we are at the trial because the Commonwealth is alleging that, yes, the manslaughter would occur, but only by a vehicle, by KarenRead operating a vehicle and colliding with Officer John O'Keefe. You are saying that this collision happened, but the reason we are in court is to determine by the jury, Loveys, if a collision occurred at all. What, if any, collision occurred? And Hank Brennan is having another one of Hank's number 2 pencil tizzy fits right now. You're having a dramatic gay moment, right? Just like the dramatic gay tires, apparently, of KarenRead. Stop it. Stop it. Say, do you believe that a collision occurred? Sure. But he can't say to scientific certainty, to a high degree of medical or scientific certainty. No. To engineering certainty, he is allowed to testify to. Fuck off, Hank.
Limited to. He's entitled to an opinion. His opinion is not limited to whether or not the defendant struck Mr. O'Keefe. That evidence is obvious. It's not whether or not there's damage to the car or Lexus. That evidence is obvious. He also is an enormous part of a biomedical engineer and an accident reconstructionist. He studied the tech stream data. They didn't. He did. And he's entitled to give an opinion. The tech stream data, based on fact and science and data, tells us when, if you put it together with other evidence, and where, when you contribute it with other evidence, this collision actually occurred.
Oh.
We don't have to play peekaboo and close our eyes to the reality of the fact that the evidence supports the conclusion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty that the defendant struck Mr. O'Keefe with her Lexus in front of Fairview Road. I am not interjecting the defendant. I always refer to her car, so it is sanitized, her Lexus. I've been careful about that. I don't have to, but I'm very careful about it. He is relying on the
her car.
The physical evidence is independent studies.
Oh,
He is
God. It was her
allowed to
car, not her.
The injuries are consistent with the damage to the car, whether the damage to the car is consistent with the injury to Mr. O'Keefe. And he's also allowed to answer, in his opinion, the issue of a collision. Putting aside the fact that that was emphasized and repeated in the opening statement, and it's going to happen again when other people testify. It's not our fault that our didn't testify or looking.
Hanky. Hank Francis, first of your name, your mother should come into this courtroom and drag you out by your ear. Are you new? I know that this isn't your first trial. I know that, God forbid, somebody fucked with Whitey Bulger in the way that you are sneaky Lincoln here. You are treading on thin ice, and you sound like an absolute piece of garbage, if you ask me. It was her car, Your Honor. I didn't say she did it.
It doesn't belittle or limit that evidence. We expect to ask Dr. Welcher, does he have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty whether the defendant's Lexus collided with Mr. O'Keefe on January 29, 2022, around 12:32 a.m. That is one of the opinions we're going to ask him. Nothing to do with the ultimate opinion of guilt or innocence, or whether it's manslaughter or there's mens rea for second-degree murder.
Well,
And
right,
what was
but
your
you didn't.
second? You said that's one of the opinions you're going to ask him. What else are you
I will
looking at?
also ask him about the consistent with, whether the injuries are consistent with.
With what?
With
We're going
what?
to ask him after this part about the difference between a clip or a side swipe as opposed to a full-on injury, pedestrian collision from a front or back of a bumper, and there are further slides to emphasize that point. And so there'll be an opinion regarding that as well.
And you,
Consistency with a side swipe or a clip.
okay, so this is not the end of Dr. Welcher's testimony. He's just moving on to another area.
It's close, but it's not the end.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, here's the case. Are you ready? The case over here it is. Commonwealth, you call me. Read.
Oh, loveys. Let's just listen. Oh, wait. I got to get her on.
705.
Wait a minute. Oh, for the love, Kim. Well,
And it stands for the proposition exactly that I articulated. I won't repeat it. Secondly, Your Honor, we practice what we preach. I have the ARCA report right in front of me, and I have the report.
Is that a new one or is that a?
This is the new one.
Okay.
It's also the old one is the same. So I can, either one is the same. They do not.
they do know what?
Mr. Brennan incorrectly said what our experts are going to do. I don't know why he did that, because he has these in writing.
Oh,
Neither Dr. Wolf or Dr. Welcher talk about a collision or conclusion. It's consistency. So it's two questions.
oh, tomorrow. All right. So we know that Attorney Alessi, let me get out of here, babes. Hold on, please. Stop sharing. Okay. Now I'll make me big. Okay. Get out. All right. Okay. Listen, we did this. Tomorrow she will answer, because that's what Judge Cannoni does. She does not answer in from the bench. Never. So we know that there is still going to be additional direct testimony. And then Attorney Alessi is going to get up and he is going to give him all the business, because he can. Because Alessi, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. I don't know if any of you saw David Yannetti, Attorney Yannetti, who looked like one beautiful bowl of spaghetti. Walking into court today, babes, he blew kisses to his fans. Where was I, might you ask? Not there, working. But when I saw that, when it was posted on the World Wide Web, it brought me joy. And I am prepared for Attorney Alessi, for David Yannetti, for Liza Little and her updo, for KarenRead in Hunter Green to kick ass and take names tomorrow. I love your faces. We will be back here, same time, same place. We're going to talk all the shit on a Wednesday, and we're going to reach out to one Attorney Mark Betterow and see if he will bless us with his presence this week. I don't know if he will. He'll probably say, I'm busy, bitch. I got things to do. All right. But if I can skedaddle and get him for an hour and a half, I would like it. I would like it for us, through him, with him, in him, and our tiny Jesus and Mary, right? We believe we are moving forward. The Commonwealth has absolutely royally fucked themselves. This was not a good day for the Commonwealth, in my opinion, and potentially bias. But yes, day 21 is in the column for a win for the defense. We are one day closer to freeing KarenRead. And loveys, as soon as I get off this stream, I will go to the Venmo and I will send Karen whatever we decide, whatever we were able to get for her for a lovey lunch, so that Attorney Alessi is ready and he is powered by fuel and love. All right. And potentially a couple of strings of pearls. Oh, all right, babes. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining me. I love your faces. Thank you for answering my FaceTime. Night, guys.